How's it going, Patriots? It's July 10th, 2026 already. Holy smokes. The, the year is flying by like crazy, man. It's been a while since I talked to you guys, so I think these sessions, these are good times to just come together and we'll just talk and hang out. And I'm gonna give you like my perspective from over here. I'm just a dude who is trying to figure out what's going on in the world, and that's all I can do, right? At least I'm trying to figure it out. I'm not trying to ignore the whole thing and let it just drift by me while I try to do something other than love this country and make sure that there's a good country around for the kids and the grandkids when I'm out of here, when I'm gone. So a lot has happened. I think the last broadcast I did was in June, and I was busy with a lot of stuff. Let me just show you something. Here's what I was busy with. We had a major storm rip through where I live. And probably didn't hear about it. It was a very local storm. It wasn't a tornado. It was just this crazy freaking 2 days of wind that just rolled through where I lived, knocked trees down everywhere, and also came with a lot of rain, knocked the power lines down. There was a power outage, and I didn't have power for, let's see, it went out Sunday night, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 4 days of no power. So it was pretty crazy. We had to do all this cleanup here. We're helping all the neighbors, and they all had stuff to clean up. Fences destroyed, decks destroyed. It was pretty wild. Just a little local storm that rolled through northern Lancaster County. Didn't affect the people down south in Lancaster County, but we had to bring in power crews from out of state that got all the power lines back up. There's a lot of trees that are growing up around our power lines after they built these neighborhoods and stuff. And for some reason, they don't keep up with the trimming around these wires, and these trees get gigantic, and we get windstorms and it just blows them down like that. So that was an exciting 5 days, I'll tell you, and it flew by. We're just dealing with what we can deal with. When you got a basement that floods and the electricity goes out and it rains a lot, you gotta improvise with extension cords and generators and dehumidifiers and fans and everything like that, and trying to make the whole trying to make sure all your food doesn't go bad in the fridge. I mean, people got freezers full of meat. You buy a half a pig around here and you put it in the freezer, right? Well, the power goes out, you're out of $700 worth of meat, you know? So that was the reality of the last week here. Carol Burt and the electric company is at fault. I agree with you. Priscilla had no power for 3 days. Oh my goodness. Well, it just makes you really appreciate the days the power doesn't go out, that's for sure. When you can get a hot shower. So someday or another, like 2.5 days into that, I had to take a shower. And somehow or another, there was enough hot water still in that water heater to give me a hot shower. So I think, like, you know, God heated that water up right before I needed to use it, I'm pretty sure. Because God is good. And yeah, I think the electric companies are at power. What the electric companies have done here is they have separated the power generating business from the power transmission business. So now there's a different company that's in charge of all the telephone, all the power poles that are out there than there is for the company that runs the generation, the dams and stuff around here. So most people are paying an electric bill to actually two companies here. I believe this is how it works here. And yeah, the power poles are getting all dilapidated. They're all crooked and leaning over and stuff. And then they got all these like 75-year-old trees growing over the power lines. And as soon as the wind blows, a limb falls on the power line and shuts it out. And, you know, we go through this two times a year on average. I'm thinking this was an exceptional one because it was so widespread that they couldn't take care of the problems all at one time. So certain people had to wait 3 days until you saw the power crews coming into the neighborhood. But there should be some type of maintenance on these poles. I remember when the Lahaina fires happened, I talked to a dude that lived on Maui, and he said the same thing, man. The company that runs the power poles there were just asleep at the wheel. They weren't reinvesting in their infrastructure of power poles and all that. And that actually started one of the Lahaina fires on Maui, was power poles that blew over during that event. So I don't know why it's so confusing. It seems like it could be so cool, but it's not. I don't know, man. What's happening in Cary? All right, Priscilla had a river out back to jump into. That's nice. So yeah, you gotta have a generator. You gotta make sure it works. You gotta make sure it's got gas. We get the generator out every year and test it. And I just had a thing where it rained so fast where I set the generator flooded. So it was an exciting event. I worked out a bunch of errors in the whole setup there. Now I could probably do it in about 5 minutes, but I was scrambling there for a while. And next thing you know, there's 6 inches of water in the basement. So a lot has happened, and we'll just start getting right down into it here. A while ago, on the end of June, the Supreme Court made a ruling that that the government or Trump can, or the Department of Homeland Security can revoke the temporary protected status of Haitians and Syrians and all kinds of groups of people that are here on this temporary protection status, which is a loophole in the asylum system that we have here. You can come, we talked about asylums here. You have to have been persecuted where you lived before you come here for asylum. And if you come here for asylum and it turns out you weren't persecuted, but you were just coming here because you wanted to collect welfare or get a better paying job, that didn't qualify as temporary as asylum. So a couple of these events, like in Haiti, we offered temporary protected status to these Haitians that came here. And I think it was 400,000 or several 100,000 people came from Haiti during that event. And we just didn't do anything. We gave them temporary protected status and called it good. Now you can live here. We'll take care of you while your country's rebuilt. Well, their country wasn't rebuilt. Lots and lots of money went towards their country, but none of it seemed to have gotten to the country because Hillary Clinton, the Clinton Foundation was involved with that. And so, you know, we all watched that happen. The Clinton Foundation was put in charge of the Haiti relief thing. And next thing you know, their children are going missing in Haiti. Next thing you know, $1 billion evaporates, and there's like a little fake neighborhood of hurricane-proof houses that they built for $1 million. You know, the money just disappeared. We got all kinds of evidence that Clinton Foundation was crooked, that she was taking money from countries, and I mean, all that information's out there. And we're still waiting on some type of law enforcement to come in and effectively run down all the leads about the crooked Hillary Clinton Foundation, right? That's one area. And then there was also events that happened in Syria. There were TPS refugees from Syria here. I believe it, and there's other countries here, but, well, anyways, the Supreme Court ruled Donald Trump wanted to end that, take away their temporary protected status, and the liberals found a judge that would rule against Trump, and it worked its way all the way up to the Supreme Court finally. It took about a year. And finally, the Supreme Court ruled on it that, yes, Trump can revoke temporary protective status from people. Finally, okay. So what didn't happen yet is the Department of Homeland Security hasn't revoked the temporary status of Haitians and Syrians yet. So that has not happened, okay? Mainstream media, once again, misrepresented the way the whole thing played out. So we're waiting for the Department of Homeland Security to make a proclamation. They have said that we are allowed to do this now, and if you're a Haitian TPS refugee here, that you can take $2,600, get on a plane that will set you up with a plane ride back to Haiti. And you can go make Haiti great again, because nobody else did in the 16 years since that has happened over there, right? Lots of people have tried. Lots of people have been murdered because they got a terrible government there. They don't have a working government. One of the advantages to having a working government is to rebuild your country after a natural disaster. The phone's overheating because it's hot out. And my phone is old and I need a new phone. Okay. Department of Homeland Security has to declare these temporary protected status refugees that they have. And then the Supreme Court came out and said something about birthright citizenship. And they came out with some absurd ruling about birthright citizenship, man. These folks. Wow, I'm having troubles today. Here we go. This is the core of the group of Supreme Court justices that's decided to make this crazy interpretation of the 14th Amendment here in America, that it's perfectly fine if some person from another country is flying over the country, gives birth in an airplane, that baby is now an American citizen, or any other crazy interpretation of the birthright citizenship, man. And that's what's totally sick about this. And I think when we're talking about baby things, you know, don't you think that women are going to have like just a more emotional response to that decision than a man would, okay? And what we're stuck with now is we got these 4 women on the Supreme Court, and we get an emotional topic like birthright citizenship that involves babies. How can they vote against babies? Because they're mothers, you know, they're women. There is no woman in the world that will make a decision against a baby somehow, you know. As contorted as that decision has to become about the birthright citizenship thing, I don't know that a woman could separate herself enough from that decision in order to make a rational decision that's good for this country. And I don't know. I'm just putting out what this guy over here thinks about, what I'm seeing from here. All right. And we know that Sotomayor and the other lady, and then the Katanji, these are not normal women. These are screaming liberal, DEI programmed bots, basically, that have made this decision. And then we got Amy Coney Barrett joining the ranks there, for womanhood. They got to stick together, man. I don't want to sound like I'm some kind of bigot, like a male bigot, but I don't know that women could separate themselves out of that decision that needed to be made about birthright citizenship enough to realize that the security of this country is at stake over this. Because there has been a thriving business on flying people in here, having a baby. They sign them up as a birth certificate from America, which gives them a social security number, which signs them up for all types of things. And 18 years later, they get to vote in this country, even though they may have never lived in this country or lived under the laws of this country. And that's what makes this decision so hard to separate yourself to make a rational decision, is what I'm saying, man. And I hope I'm not offending any of you ladies, man, because motherhood is the biggest gift to mankind. And if we stop having babies, God bless women for having babies, because there's no way guys would do it. It's just, I could not comprehend having a baby. So, I don't know. That's just my thoughts there. You take it for what it is. I think that we got some real good fodder there to make some stupid videos about me out there now. But anyway, so I thought, all right, I'll try to read the 14th Amendment. And that didn't work out too well. All right, the 14th Amendment's got 5 different articles to it, or sections. 14th Amendment has 5 different sections, and you want a little class in government speak, like who knows what they're talking about here? I can't make heads or tails of it. Because the 14th Amendment, there's a whole bunch of other things that are crammed in here. The validity of the public debt of the United States, authorized by law, including debts incurred for payment of pensions and bounties for services in suppressing insurrection or rebellion, shall not be questioned. What? What does that mean in plain English? So I tried reading through the 14th Amendment. I can't make heads or tails of it, but I can vote. So all I know is I don't want people from China flying in here, having babies, and then sucking Social Security money out of the country, or welfare money, or Medicaid money. That isn't right. Everybody can see that isn't right, regardless of what the words say here. And that's why we vote for representatives. They're supposed to figure that out, but we're finding out that they are not good at anything, especially handling our money. The people in Congress are total failures at managing the taxpayers' money and putting that money to effect in society in the way that we, the people, want it to be put into effect, man. Hey, Jay Jones and Darlene. It's good to see you guys. Hi, Carol. Trusty Mod, thank you so much. Mods keep it nice, Hi, Trina. Good to see you, Trina. So there's that, the birthright citizenship. That was a week and a half ago. In the meantime, in this week that's come by, the CDC, the Center for Disease Control, has come out with statistics about the COVID-19 vaccines. And the data indicates that over 600,000 Americans were killed by the COVID-19 vaccine. Complications thereof and whatnot. I mean, there is now this whole slew of information now is available on Dr. Fauci, on the pharmaceutical companies and the crookedness that they put on us during that COVID scare, the biolabs thing. I mean, there's a ton of information out there. We're just sitting around here waiting for law enforcement to kick in and get somebody arrested and held responsible for all this. And I don't know what we're supposed to do. What are we supposed to do? We've known this for a couple of years now. We were screaming it 4 years ago when we were into People's Convoy saying, 6 feet apart and a particle mask is going to stop a pandemic. We were calling it out 4 years ago. Law enforcement was asleep at the wheel. Nobody was looking into it. Congress wasn't looking into it. They were just nodding their heads and going along with the whole thing. Well, now our very own Center for Disease Control says that 600,000 Americans died from the COVID-19 vaccines. So this rivals the amount of people who were killed in the Civil War, okay? This rivals, in addition to that, we were losing 100,000 people a year to fentanyl on top of that. So we lost 600,000 to the COVID vaccine, 600,000 to fentanyl overdoses over the last 5 years. And what are we supposed to do? We know why is there still fentanyl coming in this country until Trump became president? And then why is everybody complaining that he's blowing up drug boats out in the ocean, I'm not complaining. I'm going, yeah, do more of that. But we got people out there that really are just so detached from reality that they are bitching about that. They're complaining that Trump is killing these drug boat people that are bringing this drug into the country. So all this information is out there. Tulsi Gabbard's dropped the goods on Fauci on her last day of work. The information's out there. We all know what he did. And everything that he did was against America, against we the people, against humanity. And so all that information's out there. What are we waiting for? What is supposed to take effect right now? Are we waiting for the FBI to go out there and arrest Fauci? Are we waiting for, the ATF? Are we waiting for the park police to go get him? Who are we waiting to go get Fauci? Because the information is out there. He's right, Jay. The mask was useless. It was like stopping a mosquito with a chain link fence. Exactly, dude. And we knew that on day one. So now we're living with this absurdity for 5-6 years now, We've been going through these congressional hearings, and I mean, they're theatrics is all it amounts to. Nothing ever happens from it. They come to these decisions and they forward criminal suggestions to the DOJ. Nothing ever happens from that. Who are we waiting to come and do what needs to be done? Basically is what I'm saying. The Congress is asleep at the wheel. The justice system isn't operating properly. Everybody can see what Fauci did, not only in the COVID thing, but with the AIDS epidemic and, prior to COVID. And I don't know what we're supposed to do other than vote. Oh, wait, we can't just vote our way out of this because the elections are rigged too. So you see what's happening. All fronts, any way at which we fight, we're going to hit something, unless we fight amongst ourselves. There's a lot of that going on right now too. Not a lot, just a couple problem areas. So anyways, not only did Fauci do all this biolab work with our tax money, with our money, he took our money and funded biolabs all over the world, hundreds of them, 90 of them alone in Ukraine, which was information that came out 4 years ago now already. Could have been a major contributor to why Putin was angry with the government of Ukraine for allowing these biolabs on his doormat. Could have had something to do with it. In addition to all that, the government, Congress, essentially was in charge of our money, allowed the U.S. media to get paid $900 million during the COVID epidemic to talk us all into getting a shot, to talk us all into an untested, potentially dangerous shot that the inventor of the shot was warning us, don't take it. Dr. Malone invented the mRNA vaccine. He got out there and started saying, don't take it. So the media's companies got $900 million to promote this absurdity on America. So who are we waiting for that? Who was in charge of that money? Well, we all know Congress was in charge of that money because they hold the purse strings to everything. The House of Representatives was in charge for that money because they hold the purse strings. That's who let our money to be used against us on biolabs, on propaganda, on bad medical advice, that Congress is at fault for mishandling our money and then not being able to audit any of that money too. And that's the same problem that's happening over and over and over again. It's happening with the birthright thing. It's happened with the temporary protective status thing. Money just getting wasted, blown out the doors. Money with the CDC. Over and over again. It's Congress who's at fault. Who's not removing judges that are making these horrendous anti-constitutional rulings all over the place that takes a year for us to see justice on, and then it goes all the way to Supreme Court, and they get a year and a half's worth of court action reversed in a day because it was absurd to begin with. Who's not removing those judges right now? Congress. Who seats those judges? Congress. So this is dark to light, patriots. The darkness was scurrying around right under our noses up until about 5 years ago. And now it's all like right out there in the open. What are we doing? Who are we waiting for to come and make the calls? These hard decisions that got to be made right now about people who have betrayed this country, who have murdered Americans by the hundreds of thousands, who have subverted the security of this country through rigged elections. Who are we waiting for to come around and do this? Good question. Who tried to do it in the past? Who tried to correct these instances in the past? Everybody that attended the Stop the Steal rally, maybe, possibly, on January 6th in 2021. Every single one of the people that were standing there were trying to reverse an obviously blatant breach in security in this country, man. It's pretty wild, man. Belly Ears thinks I don't have a job. Okay. Belly. Post a 1 if you want me to delete them. Post a 2 if you want Trina to delete them, or Carol. All right, we're getting low on, we're getting hot again here. The trolls just follow us around. Isn't that wild, Priscilla? Isn't that wild? Dark to light, man. Everything's coming out. Okay, here's another topic on dark to light. We just watched Charlie Kirk get murdered a year ago or whatever it's been now. And he, the guy is on trial who, first of all, I remember the FBI coming out saying, oh, in 33 hours, we caught this guy, right? Do you guys remember this? 33 hours, the FBI, Cash Patel came out and said, we caught him. We all went, yay, that's great, And then we had to listen to people like Candace Owens and all these other influencers who just got on that story and just stirred the bucket up to the max and made a lot of money doing it. And now that the trial's happening, we're finding out that everything that Candace Owens said was a lie. She made it up. She made $60 million, I'm told. Candace Owens was supposedly a right-leaning person, right? She voted for Trump. She rallied for Trump when he was running for president, right? Right? I think so. She was claiming to be friends with Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk, I think, had her do a couple of events for TPUSA. So, like now that we're seeing it for what it is, I didn't listen to anything Candace Owens says. I didn't spend 5 minutes looking at what she did. But a lot of the people that were giving me broadcasts were putting in a lot of this, oh, Candace said this and Candace says that, at which time I would fast forward through their video to get through the Candace bullshit because I knew it was bullshit. And, but a lot of people got caught up in that, man. And now that the trial's coming out, the trial isn't even started yet. This is just a hearing for the trial. This is how long it takes for this to work its way through the court system. Now we're just seeing how much of an enemy that Candace Owens was in dividing people up. Okay, so we got to ask ourselves: was Candace Owens a weapon? Was she a weapon that was used against us? Planted right into our midst, and everyone went, oh, the cute black girl's a Republican now. There, she's going to vote for Trump, Was she put there for a reason? Just to do what she just did. For 1 year now, she made millions of dollars, causing confusion and anger and hatred within the right-wing group, within the group of people that are voting for MAGA. So, dark to light, patriots, there you have it. This is happening over and over and over again, man. I would say it's happening a little bit to Tucker Carlson, too. And, I mean, Tucker was I was a big fan of Tucker. I'm still a fan of Tucker until he gets off of this thing. He does great interviews. And if he's interviewing somebody who I want to hear is their opinion, I know Tucker's going to do a great interview with the guy. But it's been really wild watching this happen over and over and over again in our circles to try to divide us up, which tells me we are up against an enemy that is very good at what they do. Somebody who has had a long time to think about this plan that he's trying to institute right now, and how he was going to take down the last greatest country on the planet Earth, man, because all the other countries, they're looking pretty weak, and they are looking pretty feeble to fighting this enemy. And one by one, they're going down, you know? I mean, maybe there are some bastions of freedom out there, but not like America is, man. We got to understand what we have and how to keep it. And the Second Amendment is integral to that. The Constitution is integral to the whole thing. Yeah, Megyn Kelly, you know. I mean, I went back and forth on Megyn Kelly now 3 times, you know, because she was for Trump, then she wasn't, then she interviewed Trump and like kind of didn't make him look good. I don't know, man. It's crazy watching this whole thing happen. And it's too darn confusing, and it doesn't need to be, but it is. And we got to just sort through it, and that's why we got to come together and talk like this, right? Well, hello there, Lee Sorensen. Good to see you, man. Our Michigan family member. Good to see you, Lee. Oh, Mr. McLean. Good to see you, Derek. Good to see you, man. Freedom Hawk. Patriot Roy D. Right on, man. Oh, here we got another troll. Another troll. We all stabbed Sean in the back with my flagpole. Yeah. Good one. Nobody knows what you're talking about, troll. Because nobody can understand what Sean's talking about. And then we're watching him spiral out of control and turn around and stab everybody that's ever helped him out. So that's going on. Don't need to spend any more time on that guy, you know. Glad he identified himself. Dark to light. Good luck. You know, he's going to go do his thing. But he's not going to do it with us anymore, I guess. He made his own decisions there. So I'm here to tell you, Candace Owens was a weapon. She was cultured to perform what she just did over the last 2 year with the Charlie Kirk thing. That was her job from the get-go. She was inserted into our groups, into Charlie Kirk's world, into the MAGA world, and that was her job to do that. And now she's out of there. Everybody can see what she is. She's going to crash, and you don't need to spend any more time on Candace Owens. You know what to expect with her, and none of it's good. None of it's good. We've had this whole, all right, so America 250 came and went, 4th of July, the 250th anniversary of our signing of the Declaration of Independence. And it's an amazing thing that Trump and his team, the cabinet, has put together here there in D.C. with the America's State Fair thing. I mean, that was amazing. The fireworks show, all the celebrations that are happening and continue to happen right now. It is really a sight to behold. And it's really interesting to see how there's 2 states in particular that I think are integral to the founding of this country, and that's Pennsylvania and Massachusetts, okay? The Declaration of Independence itself was signed in Philadelphia. The Boston Tea Party happened in Massachusetts. Yet the governors of these 2 states decided to not participate in the America State Fair event in Washington, D.C. for the last 3 weeks that's been going on there. That's a humiliation ritual from your governors of those 2 states, telling you that Pennsylvania has nothing to say about the 250th anniversary of this country, which is horrific, anti-American, insurrection. I mean, come on, man. So Pennsylvania's representatives got together and manned the booth, I guess, and I heard of people from Massachusetts did that. And I wouldn't know any of this unless Glory B and Soup Mama went down there and filmed it for us, because the mainstream media did not present anything about the America 250 thing. Well, I wouldn't even know because I don't even watch mainstream media anymore, but I didn't see anything, even clips. I saw Jesse Waters was doing his news broadcast from there, but it's just sick how mainstream media did not take up that baton and run with it. Another event that happened was Trump went to Teddy Roosevelt National Park in North Dakota. And he did some amazing stuff there, man. They had the Freedom train rolled up, Trump on the train. They had the new Air Force One. He took possession of it on that trip, which is the Qatari jumbo jet that they gave us, that the government, the army, the military took and outfitted as Air Force One. And he took possession of that. I mean, all this like super cool stuff happened, and mainstream media did not pick it up and run with it. They wanted to just forget about all this stuff, man. And the coolest thing about the new Air Force One was that little flag that popped out of the roof of the cockpit while it was taxiing out to the runway, man. If that's not a throwback to the People's Convoy, I don't know what is, man. But somebody, or Trump made him put a flag out the window of the roof of the cockpit while it was taxiing out to take off. I thought this was fantastic. I couldn't believe it when I saw it. I was watching this live because I wanted to see the new Air Force One. And I saw something happen above the cockpit. I'm like, what? Oh, wow, they're putting a flag out the roof. I just thought that was the coolest thing ever. I don't know if you guys are with me on that, but that wound my clock, man. That just made me feel happy right there. I just thought that was amazing. And then there's been some hijinks with this new Air Force One thing, all the people complaining about the new Air Force One. And then Trump, he's flying all over the world in it, you know, like they're saying, oh, it's rigged, it's not safe, but he's flying all over the world in it. I love the guts that Trump just shows over and over again in their faces. He don't care. He knows, you know, he basically said, I know they may get me at any minute, but what am I going to do? Nothing? No, he is standing up for his country the ultimate role model for that is Donald Trump, man. He is just an amazing, courageous patriot for this country, man. Yeah, Glory B, there you are in the chat. Glory B, you did a fantastic job today, man. She hit all 50 of the states on the mall there. But then what I didn't realize was like DHS had a booth there, Department of Justice had a booth there. I thought those were the coolest ones, man. And they had like bulletproof armor that you could put on. I wanted to see you put that on, Glory B, but I understand. I understand. I wouldn't, why you didn't want to put that on there. But that was super cool stuff, man. And I just think mainstream media just dropped the ball. You know, I don't know why they didn't see that there was equity in it for them to do that, you know. Why didn't they present that to you? They were able to see it. Another thing that has happened was a lot of crazy information came out in this MK Ultra hearing. And I'm sure most of you guys know what MK Ultra is. It is the mind control operation within the secret military and the CIA, and I'm sure the FBI is involved with it and everything. All the goon squads in DC are involved with MK Ultra. And it's led by two of the rock stars of the MAGA movement. That would be Anna Paulina Luna and Tim Burchett, are two awesome representatives who are, in my book, bona fide. They are bona fide, right? And one of the interesting tidbits of information that I didn't know about was that the CIA, back in the end of the World War II, they brought 1,600 Nazi scientists over from Germany after Germany surrendered, man. So that's not a dozen. That's not 100. That's not 500. That's 1,600 scientists that were working for Hitler prior to the end of World War II were escorted into our country by spooks that we pay for, all right? That the American people funded and facilitated our spooks to bring in 1,600 Nazis in here to start studying the psychology of the human mind and how to manipulate it. Now, I mean, we got to know how to fight these things, but why would you bring 1,600 of them in and just start this whole program? And now we can see that these people can be activated. Charles Manson was, remember Helter Skelter? He was an MK Ultra student, you know, only he figured out how to manipulate other people, right? I'm thinking this guy that shot Charlie Kirk is one of these people, man. He's been activated. They have him identified and they've activated him. Look at how many people don't believe that they're a man or a woman. I mean, are all these people activated? So this certainly appears to be a weapon being used against us, right? Operation Paperclip. And I think some of them went to NASA and stuff. I know von Braun, he was a Nazi scientist, you know. But I just don't know that there was enough oversight on that project, and it does appear that that is being used against us, man. Yeah, right, Corby. They use these skills against us. Exactly. And we, the American people, we got fat and lazy, you know, for a long time. They made involving yourself with politics such a repulsive thing that nobody wanted to do it anymore. Nobody wanted to run for office anymore. It's kind of like that now. We got a this Plattner guy up in Maine. You know, I mean, I only got so much time in my life to listen to the supposed facts of a case and then try to evaluate, try to discern what the truth is out of all this. And this Plattner thing up in Maine, I have no idea what's going on, because the Democrats did a 180 on him, and I'm thinking he might have been a good guy, and that's why the Democrats took him out. I don't know if he was a MAGA plant in the Democrat Party, possibly. One of the oddest facts about this was this woman came forward who claims that he was his girlfriend, and claims that he came home, broke into her apartment, drunk one night, and raped her. And okay, believable story so far. But she never reported the rape, okay? And then she continues talking in this interview I'm watching. And she says, yeah, and then when we woke up in the morning, I said, don't you remember anything that happened last night? Okay, now it all of a sudden doesn't sound like what she just said it was, you know? Because why did she just fall asleep with the guy that did that to her, you know? And then furthermore, then she broke up with him, she said, and she also said that she didn't want to make waves. She didn't want to report it because she agreed with him politically. So she was on the same page that he was on with politics. So she didn't want to make waves for the guy, which leads me to going like, that is the definition of a cult right there. We get accused of being in a cult all the time, right? It's silly to watch people try to make that claim when there's Democrats out there like this woman who won't report a crime against her own body because she agrees with their attacker politically. I mean, that to me is mind-boggling. That is mind-boggling to me, right? Does that make any sense to you? These are words out of her own mouth. And then why, after all that, does she come up and stand up and say something about it now? I can't figure these Democrats out. They don't make any logical sense. You're not able to figure them out because they're lunatics, I think. I think it's just crazy. And if all this is what's happening, like the Democrats they were all behind this Plattner guy, right? I mean, Bernie Sanders himself was holding his hand up at rallies like, oh, here's my new guy, vote for Plattner. Let's defeat Susan Collins. I mean, she might as well be a Democrat anyways. What's the GOP doing about Susan Collins? Nothing. They're going to let her just ride. She votes against Trump all the time. But Bernie Sanders, AOC, they all were rooting for Plattner, and they all did a 180 on him in the last week, all right? Which, again, as a Democrat, how can you look at your party and go, I'm going to donate money to this party because they didn't even vet their own candidate, okay? They put $16 million into this guy already. And then they find out that he's a junk, that he's a guy that is not kind to women. And, they all knew he had the Nazi tattoo, but they were all like, that doesn't matter. He can still be a Democrat and we'll still give him millions of dollars. How do Democrats look themselves in the mirror and go, I'm going to donate money to more of that, The Democratic Party is wise with their handling of my money. You just can't look at that and say that to yourself, but a Democrat can. Well, Glory B. All right, Glory B says, women get blamed for their rape. And they're not treated nicely at all because half of them turn out to be stories like this Plattner thing. She fell asleep with the guy and woke up in the morning and tried to explain to him that, hey, you just did this to me. But that, in my book, that's not really a rape, okay? That's just, oh, my boyfriend's a little out of control. I'll placate him. I'm so sick of these nitpicking stories about people's sex lives, I mean, a rape is when you're walking down an alley and a guy grabs you and that's a rape. But man, our whole justice system is so focused on the sexuality of human beings that you really can't know which way is up with it anymore. There are so many fake people out there making claims of sexual abuse and things like that. Look at E. Jean Carroll. Do you believe a word that woman says? She lied over and over in her testimony in court. Trump was found innocent of committing the act on her, yet she can go to another court, the civil court, and sue Trump for and win $83 million. I mean, the whole thing has become so absurd that it's hard to believe anybody at their word anymore without 100% physical proof, man. Oh, there we go. Finally, somebody doxed my name in my own video. For Christ, who does that? You know, truth for all. What's your name? Oh, we don't know, because you're a coward. Sick of you people, man. Sick of you people. Dark to light, patriots. There it is, right there. Dark to light. Who are you going to believe? Me or this coward? Men can be victims of it too, but no man is going to, come out and say something like that, because other men would make fun of them, right? I know that. Not personally, but a person I know, in high school. Yeah, I mean, it happens. It happens. It probably is, Carrie. It probably is always about money somehow. The rich walk free. Yeah, justice only happens for rich people, right? But I believe that things like this E. Jean Carroll thing is allowed to happen because these are demoralizing humiliation rituals for you and I. Because we got to look at this and go, that's the same system of justice that's going to try me if I get accused of this stuff. And it's a joke. It's a circus. And it's corrupt to the core, man. And once again, Congress will not do a thing about it, man. Our state House of Representatives won't do a thing about it because it's the game that they're all playing, and they're all there by a consensus of the rules. And the rules are we can rig elections if we got enough money, as long as we leave these judges in place. That's our safety mechanism, the crooked judges. So I don't know who we're waiting around. Proof of that, Judge Dugan up there in Wisconsin, who helped the illegal immigrant escape from the courthouse while ICE was standing there waiting to take custody of him after a hearing that he had. This wasn't a 15-minute momentary lapse of reason for her. This was a thing that she had to come up with a plan on how to get this guy to escape out a door that ICE wouldn't find him. And she got caught. She's a judge. She's seated on the bench of a court. And she knew darn well that was illegal. And she got caught. All right? So now that was a year and a half ago. And we're watching the hearings and the testimony and the court case. Then the guilty verdict comes down. We all go, yay! She's guilty. Of course she's guilty. She was guilty from day one. Well, what just happened this week? She got away with it. She got away with it. She had to pay $5,000 and she has no jail time. This was a high-profile case that could have really put a scare could have really thwarted other judges thinking about doing the same thing if she would have got some jail time and had to spend a couple nights in prison. Not even one night. That's the thing. I mean, not even one night. Another judge lets her off with 0 jail time. What a letdown. What a humiliation ritual. Oh, Steve, were you trusting the government's criminal system and the courts? Were you actually thinking that justice was going to be served with Judge Dugan? I was. And then look at the humiliation ritual for anybody that actually had an inkling that some type of justice was going to happen with this Judge Dugan woman who committed outright felony crimes in helping a fugitive of the law escape our police. I mean, what a humiliation ritual, man. And yeah, another liberal judge let her go, right, Deb? It was another crooked liberal judge who has made crooked liberal decisions in the past, and no state senator, no state representative has reprimanded her. The Bar Association didn't say something like, hey, next time don't be so, let's do some real good decisions lately, That's the game. They got it rigged. The judges and the elected officials, they got it rigged. That's why they don't do anything about it. It's their game, and they don't want anyone to break it up. So who are we waiting for to come and take care of this? We voted for Trump. Trump's got his cabinet, but that same enemy is against them. They're fighting them too, and I don't want them to fight Trump and his cabinet. I want Trump and his cabinet to be able to do what we voted him to do. I don't want him taking flack or he's getting resistance from other aspects of the government that we didn't vote for. So who are we waiting for to come around and fix this? Ever wonder why there are no Democrats on Mount Rushmore? Yeah, me neither. There she is. Judge Hannah Dugan. She was spared prison time and sentenced to only a $5,000 fine, two-tiered system. She got away with it. All right. Here's another humiliation ritual. Throughout any presidency, they have to seat people for positions in the government. One of those methods of getting somebody seated is a recess appointment. During Bill Clinton's presidency, Congress has agreed to 139 recess appointments. George Bush got 171 recess appointments done by Congress. Barack Obama had 32. And here we have our Republican-controlled Senate doing 0 recess appointments for Donald Trump's nominees. This is ludicrous, Patriots. This is a Republican. What is John Thune doing? Why in the world can't John Thune get this Save America Act passed? I mean, it's obvious he is trying to not pass the Save America Act. It's totally obvious. They got all kinds of excuses why they can't do what they got to do. Oh, we didn't get the green slips back. We can't seat any recess appointments because the blue slip or the green slip didn't show up, Chuck Grassley. We can't do the Save America Act because of the filibuster, because of the Senate parliamentarian lady. She said we can't do it. Oh, okay, John Thune says, okay. I mean, they always got an excuse, man. The deep state, yeah, deep state rhino. I mean, Julian Assange said when it's all revealed, 98% of DC is going to fall. And I'm starting to see it. But how do you get 98% of politicians out of their seats? It doesn't happen with the DC police. That old deal in North Dakota was really cool, and mainstream media just did not do it justice at all. what a great shot there, going over Mount Rushmore with the new Air Force One. Teddy Roosevelt had a quote that he said, "Freedom is not a gift that lasts long in the hands of cowards." We've lost our freedom, patriots. We've lost a lot of our freedoms. The government of Virginia right now is attempting to ban a certain type of a weapon, an AR-15. They want to just ban it, just like Bill Clinton did, remember? Remember Bill Clinton banned AR-15s? A lot of kids don't know that because they weren't born yet. But our Second Amendment rights in this country have been under attack almost from day one. This is one area that we cannot give any ground. The Second Amendment is one of those amendments that is very straightforward and very easy to understand. It is not like the 14th Amendment that you can't tell what they're really talking about. The Second Amendment is very clear in what it says. Amendment 2. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. It tells you why. It tells you what they can't do. And yet, how many Americans have had their Second Amendment rights infringed? It's pretty simple. That is straightforward. That's all it is. That's the whole Second Amendment. It's like the Ten Commandments in the Bible. You read the whole Bible, okay? But really, if you want to just see what the Bible is, just all you got to do is read the 10 Commandments. It was 10 laws that a whole nation of people survived under for a long, long time. God's own people. I think it's time to designate Democrats and far-left extremists a terrorist organization and a threat to the United States. I mean, that's where I stand. Who are we waiting for to come around and do this? The park police ain't going to do this for us. Josh Shapiro, he's not going to do that for us. We got our guy in office right now, Patriots, and he is doing it for us. But if we don't stand behind him, whether you think he is right or wrong, if you don't stand behind him, you might as well just give up the whole battle right now. That's what I'm saying. And if you want to start stabbing other patriots that are on board with Trump in the back, you are not helping things at all. You are a hindrance. You're like trying to win a canoe race while you're dragging an anchor on the ground, in the water, you know? These people are destroying our country. Yet they're allowed to be on TV every single day. And a lot of our supposedly right-wing news broadcasters, all they're doing is showing clips of Candace Owens and complaining about her. Showing clips of CNN news broadcast. You watch Fox News, and half of their news broadcast is showing CNN news clips. I mean, we're never going to get anywhere with newscasts like that, right? We all know CNN's lying. So whether they say anything good or bad about MAGA, it doesn't matter. They're liars, right? But then why watch Fox News if all they're going to do is show clips of CNN News and The View and complain and ridicule and gripe about it? They're further promoting CNN and The View by showing the clips on their broadcast. I mean, that's insanity to me. I don't know why anyone would watch that. But Fox News has been like this for 20 years that I know of. That's their gig. All right, yeah, we got Schumer. God created man and woman. Democrats created the rest. I mean, what an upside down world we live in. What more humiliating rituals we have to live through here. All right, and then before I get off of here, I know your time is valuable, Patriots, and I appreciate you checking in on me, coming together, and talking about this stuff. We have one more humiliation ritual for you. In the state of Minnesota, the governor, Tim Walz, just took an illegal alien that was guilty of, having relations with a 10-year-old over and over and over again. And he pardoned him. Okay, let that sink in. Tim Walz pardoned a pedophile. And yet we got to stand out at Freedom Corner and have that word yelled at us over and over and over again. Like what? But they're the ones that are the pedophiles. This is what's known as projection, where they project and throw the insult on you that they themselves know they're guilty of, So Tim Walz lets a pedophile go. And more confusing information in this is that in the sentencing for this guy, in the letters that Tim Walz received for this guy, there were lots of people vouching for him, telling him, we think you should pardon him for this reason and that reason. And in addition to that, the 10-year-old girl wrote something about being lenient on this guy. What makes sense in that? Okay, so if we're talking about a crime that you and I think is so heinous, and that YouTube thinks is so heinous that to even talk about it too much, they get uptight and take your channel down, right? It's so heinous. How can you get the victim, once again, just like Plattner, how do you get the victim to ask for clemency or a pardon on her attacker? That doesn't make any sense. And furthermore, why would you even listen to a 10-year-old? Why would I don't know, they're called minors for a reason. Because, a minor can say anything they want, but you got to understand that that's coming from the mind of an undeveloped person, right? They don't know. They can make all kinds of decisions, but they just don't know because they're a kid, right? We were all kids at one time. We thought we knew everything. We didn't know anything, right? But we were always out there, putting our opinions out, and, no wonder nobody listened to us, right? So it's just one more humiliation ritual. But this one, Walz pardoning the pedophile and not allowing them to be deported, this one's got a little element of justice to it, because somebody on Trump's team, on Trump's cabinet, Marco Rubio, came in and just took away his papers, and he's deported. He is on a plane right now out of the country. So there's, all right, who are we waiting for to come around and rescue us from this absurdity, from these humiliation rituals? Marco Rubio, maybe? All right, so there we go. Somebody on Trump's team, somebody on the team that we elected came in and rescued the day on that one and took justice out of the jaws of defeat for us, because that would have been one that a lot of people wouldn't have been able to handle, man. Ask a troll about that one, you know. Ask the same trolls that have been in here about that. How do you feel about that? Did you vote for Tim Walz to be the vice president? Well, he's a pedophile protector. That's all there is to it, man. The very things you're accusing us of being, you are. And I know it, and it doesn't matter what they say, and that's just the case there is, man. So let's continue this discussion in a week or two and see where Trump brings the country. We're in the middle of this Iran thing. I did see gas prices came down to like $3.19, and the next day the price of oil went up $3 a barrel, and the price of gasoline went up 50 cents a gallon. So there's still corporate America. The people who Congress really represents are still playing their games and getting away with it. And it's another humiliation ritual. Oh, well, we'll just sit around and wait. Maybe they'll pass the Save America Act and we'll finally be able to vote our way out of this. But somehow or another, that is the clincher, is we should be able to vote our way out of this if the system is working properly. So I appreciate your time, Patriots, and I, definitely stay lively in the chats, represent well. Trump is on his way to more victories, and I do believe we are in the middle of taking our country back, and things are starting to look good in that direction, don't you think? So God bless you, Patriots. Thanks for coming around. We'll see you in a week or two. This is Jericho, over and out.